We will call the governing board meeting of the Lammersville Unified School District to order at 7:00 p.m. We would like to remind you that this meeting is being live streamed and recorded and ask that you please silence and/or turn off your cell phones at this time. This evening, we have students from Hanson Elementary School here to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us tonight. I'm Michelle Baptiste. I'm the principal of Hanson Elementary, home of the Tigers, and I brought with me some of our amazing ASB students who are going to do a presentation for you.
We are Peter Hanson Elementary, home of the Tigers, and we have today.
I'm Ashika. I'm Disha. I'm Shreya. I'm Dia Sundar. I'm Dia Siv.
And I'm Arjun.
What makes Hanson special? Fairs and fundraisers, inclusive and educational school teams, student participation, assemblies, and school spirit.
Our table of contents include school spirit and student recognition, school events, rallies and fundraisers, clubs and organizations, and Hanson's achievements.
School spirit and student recognition. School spirit is vital and valued at Hanson. We show our Tiger pride through Spirit Weeks, wearing green and gold, participating in assemblies, school events, and using grade level and school level chants. Now let's say our Hanson chant. Ready? Begin. We are Tigers. We are ready to learn. We respect others. We act responsibly. We recognize and support our peers. We roar.
Student recognition. In Hanson, we have a student of the month where every month there's a different character trait that's introduced to students. Teachers identify students who have gone through trustworthiness, citizenship, and more. 2 students who have displayed these traits throughout the month are recognized with a certificate and prize. Tiger tickets. Tiger tickets are similar to raffle tickets. Teachers award students with good behavior with these tickets. Every Friday, teachers pick out of a jar of tickets and pick 2 people to go to the prize cart. Pizza with the Principal. Pizza with the Principal is a new thing we introduced this year. This is an event that allows you to enjoy pizza with other students at the school and the principal. This is a congratulations for winning the Student of the Month award.
School rallies, events, and fundraisers. Some of our fundraising events at school are Trunk or Treat, which we are having this Friday on October 18th, 2024. People are able to decorate their cars, and we also provide many fun games inside to play. This is to help fundraise money for our school. We also have Dippin' Dots, which we sell during warmer months for a nice cold treat to give out to students. This also helps us fundraise for our school. We have a new program known as Purposeful People and Character Strong. Purposeful People is for TK through 5th, and Character Strong is for 6th through 8th grade. These are programs for emotional social learning. They focus on helping students make better choices at school or outside of school. Our ROAR expectations are discussed in the beginning of every school year. Our vice principal, Mrs. Soares, comes in and demonstrates what we should do and what we shouldn't do on and off campus. Students are expected to demonstrate these ROAR expectations throughout every school year. Our fun run. Hanson had a fun run, and this is like a mini marathon that helps us fundraise money for our school. The money raised in these fun runs are dedicated to our classroom and our supplies. We sell candygrams during seasonal times such as Christmas or Valentine's Day. These are gifts that come with a candy and card that students can gift to others. For each holiday, we give candies or something that corresponds to the holiday. For example, Christmas, we give out candy canes. Thank you.
These pictures demonstrate some of the events that we have at our school. So some of these pictures show safety assemblies like fire safety and road safety. And this also displays our dance that we recently had and our homecoming parade. These pictures show our varsity volleyball team and our JV volleyball team, and some pictures from our recent fun run.
Clubs and organizations. Here at Hanson, we have two different Olympiad teams. This is science and math. Science Olympiad Division A is for 4th through 5th graders, and Division B is for middle school. In Division A, we introduce them to the concept of competing, and we also teach them how to build their teamwork skills. In Division B, we have them open up to large competitions, and we teach them other new skills. Math Olympiad is also operated the same way, but with different subject. NJHS is one of Hanson's specialties. We are the only elementary school in our district that offers the National Junior Honor Society. This organization involves helping the community by volunteering and helping with fundraisers. At Hanson, we have a HOSA team. Our HOSA team has won multiple awards in ILC and also won first place in the world last year through an event. Our HOSA team prepares students for the world of medicine and for their future. ASB is our Associate Student Body Program, where we represent our school and help participate in activities benefiting Hanson. We set up events, rallies, spirit days, dances, and more. Sports is very important to Hanson. We have multiple teams, and they're expected to display sportsmanship and have fun when competing against other schools. Many students from our school come to support and cheer on our teams. Yearbook is a club that helps set up a yearbook for the school. They take photos and put together the yearbook that captures moments during the school year.
Hanson's achievements. Some of our achievements come from the Olympiads, with our Science Olympiad team, Division B, placing second in the county regional competition, and our Math Science Olympiad teams placing second and fifth in the county. Our HOSA team placed first to third place in the world at internationals in the following events of emotional well-being, dynamic decisions, health career exploration, and exploring medical innovation. Our basketball, soccer, and volleyball teams are among the most competitive in the district. Our varsity basketball team made the finals last year, and our varsity volleyball team made the semifinals last year. And this year they are undefeated. We are also one of the only schools to have a cross-country program. Our ASB committee won second place in Leadership Day last year, and they won first place in the homecoming parade. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Great job.
That was great. Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations on all your achievements. And I see that you have covered a lot of academics and sports, but I also saw that you have introduced the Character Strong event this year. So I can see that you're also taking care of the mental well-being of your students. So great job with that. And I'm really looking forward to getting to know how that particular program is going on. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Madam President, if I may, I do have a question for Dr. Nicholas or for district staff. If it is true that Hanson is the only one that's currently sponsoring the Junior Honor Society, I would like to know what we can do, because I know that a faculty member has to volunteer and it takes a lot of work. What can we do to encourage other elementary schools to provide that? I know my boys participated in that and they benefited a lot. So
yeah, we'll look into it and spread the wealth of information.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks again. It was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 3, roll call.
Lisa Boulay,
Here.
Colin Clements,
Here.
Benita Daniel,
Here.
Stephanie Olson,
Here.
David Pombo,
Here.
Devika Vitolani.
Here.
Item 4, approval and/or corrections to the agenda. I'm going to move the info and discussion item 11A to right after the approval of the agenda, because our presenters have a very long drive home. We'd like to get them on the road as soon as possible.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. So with that, we will have...
So I'd like to introduce Wes King of Nichols, Melberg, and Rosetto. He's here with Will Tyra, his right hand and left hand, because I guess the artists are left-handed, so we'll say the creative side of the mind. I'd also like to introduce Adam Villacara, who is the principal representing Roebland Construction, who is currently building our high school addition.
Thank you, Dr. Nicholas. Thank you, board members. Tonight, I'm here to talk to you about yet another new school in your district. You just keep growing. So today, we're going to be talking about Neighborhood J and Neighborhood K, which, if you don't remember, they're on the other side of the Byron Highway from where we are today. We're going to be looking a lot at Neighborhood J, which is the next school that we'll be building in the immediate future, probably starting as early as May of next year. And then we're going to look a little bit at Neighborhood K after that, with the intention of primarily looking at the site plan to make sure we do the geotechnical investigations in the right spots. So get into it. So the program and the site, as you can see on the slide here, the site is similar to your other schools. It is 16 acres. It's got a number of soccer and baseball fields, play structures for kindergarten, lower and upper grades, four-square tetherball, basketball courts. We will have a separate student drop-off lane from the parking area, similar to the Costa campus that was most recently completed. Will and I had a chance to watch that function this afternoon, so it's we have some ideas of how to improve that too, so we'll be implementing those. The buildings are going to be designed for 900 students on these campuses, 31 general classrooms, separate spaces for music, science, and special education, a multi-use with a stage in the kitchen, and then, of course, the library makerspace admin as usual. Today, we're going to look at the site layout options. We'll review the plans for the 3 building types on this campus. You'll notice that there's just 3. The classroom building will be repeated 4 times on the campus. So we're trying to be efficient with the building prototype so that it can be efficient with the cost in the end. We'll go through those here next. So if you don't remember, Neighborhood J is, let me find my pointer here. So where the big orange arrow is, it's sort of an odd shaped site. It was, I think, originally not going to be a school, and then they made it into a school, so we kind of got a lot of creative property lines, I'll call it. You'll see that more in detail in a minute. And so in the enlarged view, you can see it here. The Byron Highway is right down this diagonal, and then the orange dot is what, through my career working with you guys, we used to call the bridge to nowhere.
Bridge
but it's
to
not
nowhere.
anymore. So now it's the bridge to the other side. So that kind of orientates you where we are. So I have 2 options of the school layout for you to choose from tonight. And then towards the end of the presentation, I'll show you both side by side so you can kind of compare. So what you see here is starting in the kind of lower right corner, the MU, that's the multi-use building. And you've got the parking lot with the admin, library makerspace along one side and the kindergarten wing on the other side. Again, keeping the kindergartners close to the parking lot for the parent pickup drop-off. And then you've got the 4 classroom buildings going around the perimeter with the drop-off lane on that side there. The multi-use, in order to make the 4 classroom buildings the same, we took the specialty classrooms out. All the specialty classrooms, with the exception of special ed, are in the multi-use now, and you'll see that here in a little bit. This is a similar version. You can see the difference here being that the parking is up off the top and the drop-off is on the bottom. And if I go back to the previous one, drop-off on the right. This alignment of the drop-off lane is this main street is the only main street that comes into this campus. And so we thought it would make sense to have the people, as they exit after dropping off or picking up, be able to shoot out to that main street. Oops, going another way. The fields on this version are a little different as well. You'll see these fields are split. Pluses and minuses to that, we'll let you guys decide, but roughly the same amount of total fields on both versions, but they're just kind of segmented a little bit differently. The second version that you're looking at now, it does have a more irregular shaped quad, not a traditional shaped quad. Going back to the first one again, the quad is much more like you've seen. And then in both versions, we do have a shade structure in the middle there. So going on to the floor plans. So this is a combined administration, library, and kindergarten building. And you can see on the right-hand side is the makerspace library, the staff resource, not resource, but staff lounge and workroom, and then the administration space with the primary point of entry for the public down in the lower right corner. And then next to that recess is a secondary kindergarten entry with a main corridor going down the middle that feeds all the kindergarten rooms. And the kindergartners will also all have access to the left side of the screen, which is where the kindergarten playground will be. The multi-use is similar to what you've seen on your other campuses, with the main multi in the middle, with the stage on one side of that, a public entry in the lower left corner there, and then storage for your chairs and your tables, and then the restrooms along the left edge, and then the music classroom and some resource spaces for breaking out for student learning, the science classroom, campus entry point, and then some utilitarian spaces, the kitchen, and all the support spaces for the kitchen in the lower right corner. And then our typical classroom building is the 8 classrooms, similar to both your Altamont and your Cordis campuses. And so 8 classrooms, each 4 classrooms are surrounding a common resource or breakout space. And then you've got utilitarian spaces, restrooms, and other utilitarian spaces along both sides. Any questions on those floor plans before I go on?
I do have a question. The plans look like there are only 4 kindergarten/TK classrooms on the campus. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And this question is more for staff because they know the needs. Are 4 TK/kindergarten classrooms enough for a campus?
Well, the campus is being built for 900 students, and so the math will work out to break it up as it is. So it'll have to be built for the right amount of kindergarten and TK classrooms. But for this exercise, I think we're looking at the floor plans in terms of the classroom spaces. So Altamont has how many?
Yeah, all your campuses have 4 that we've designed for you. I don't know how many Cuesta has.
And there's nothing, I mean, because TK, they have to have the bathrooms right there within the classroom, I thought, per ed code. So is that something?
Yeah, so everything that's required will be in there.
So I think I can address that. So we can at least get 5 if necessary. And that's one of the things that's similar to a special ed classroom that needs to have the restroom immediately adjacent to it too. And so in the situation where we're going to be using the typical classroom building you see on the screen for the special ed, this upper right corner gray area, instead of being a storage room, will be a restroom that can be accessed from that adjacent classroom. So as we go down the process, if it looks like you do need more of that type, then we could convert more of those storerooms into restrooms and give you that flexibility for the future.
All right, I only bring that up because it seems like at some of our campuses, we run short on little classrooms with restrooms and the like.
Right, and that particularly happens on the schools that were built before they invented TK. But we'll figure, yes, we'll have the math right.
Okay.
All right, thanks for that. All right, so I'm going to show you a couple of images of what we're proposing for the new Neighborhood J campus. All these buildings are single story, as you saw on the site plans that we went through, kind of surrounding a quad. And then with the admin and the multi-use buildings facing the parking lot and the classroom buildings facing the drop-off lane. In the upper left corner, you can see the admin building up here, and then this archway is sort of where the gate would be to enter the campus, that while the students are flowing in and flowing out at the beginning and the end of the day, that gate would be closed and people will cycle through the office and then actually come out behind this piece right here to be behind the fence once they're approved to go into the site. This is the corner of the multi-use that you can see on the right-hand side of that image. This is a view, the second image is a view of the classroom buildings from the drop-off lane, which is through here. And again, between two of these buildings will be an entry point, which you'll see in more detail later. The third lower left is the shade structure that's sort of in the middle of the quad. And then on the lower right is, again, two classroom buildings with some space in between. This happens to be the classroom building on the left, and that's the kindergarten wing of the admin building. And you can kind of see the separately fenced area of the kindergarten play area separating it from the rest of the campus. In the upper left, you see more of an aerial view of the parking lot looking out over the campus. You'll see solar on the roofs. That is mandated by code now, not optional anymore. So we have to do that. You also will have battery backup required with that solar. And so as we work through that, the details of that, it may not be on every single roof like it's shown on this currently, but they'll be sufficient to meet those requirements of the code.
That cha-ching sound you heard, is that increase of cost with that regulation?
I make the assumption, but I can't tell, so I figured I should ask. The front of the school is being designed with the trap included, right? Like, so they don't just come onto the campus, they come on through the office.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so going back to the previous slide here, if you look at the admin building, which is this corner right here, in the upper left corner there, the front door is on the left side of that, and then the door back into the campus is actually around the corner from where that letter A is.
Oh, so because it looked to me like the thing where that looked like a gate that was open.
Oh, I think you're seeing a window beyond it. Let me go back here to the plan. I can explain. So if you look here, Colin, the public entry at the bottom, and then that brown that goes around, the door to the back end of the campus is right there, and the fence line comes in right through here.
And there's not a gate there, or if there is,
there's a gate that
shut
is
and locked.
shut during normal
office,
when the campus is in operation.
Yeah, got it. Okay, thanks. Sorry, I just
No worries.
had to double check.
That's a necessity in our world that you have to go through the office for sure. All right, so in the lower left corner on this image, you see sort of the gateway that is off the drop-off lane. And then you can see kind of back from the back side of the campus to the looking at the two classroom buildings, and you can see the courts, the ball walls, etc. And then we've seen the covered walk in the upper left corner. Again, that gateway between the multi-use and the classroom building off the drive lane for drop-off. And another view of the classroom buildings from the ball courts. And then this is sort of more of a front view of this element here is actually the stage of the multi-use and then the admin building beyond. So I have about a 3-minute video, kind of a fly through of the campus. So with all of our fingers crossed, it should work. So here you're in the parking lot. The building on the right-hand side is the multi-use. They haven't given us a name, so we just call it New Campus.
I like the name. I think we should call it New Campus Elementary School.
There's the gateway, admin building, coming around to the kindergarten wing. And then it's going to go up in the air a little bit so you can kind of see above. So you've got your play courts, and then the fields are kind of in the green beyond. You can see the shade structure kind of centered in the main complex in the quad there. And then coming around to the other side of the campus, more classroom buildings. The lower right corner, you see the site wall that's between the campus and houses. So that's the back fence of houses. This first campus that you have, it actually is up against residential units. And then here you are, the view as you drive in on the drop-off lane to drop off your students. An entrance point between the multi-use and the classroom. The multi-use at this end of it has the science and music classrooms. That's what's in those buildings with the 3 windows on the left. And we're going to kind of walk through. Try to keep it a short video, so apologies if it goes too fast here in a little bit. Kind of turn around and look back towards the front of the campus between the admin and there on the left, and then under the shade structure, going up against one of the classroom buildings there, and then out again between the kindergarten wing on the left. We're going to turn around and kind of look back towards the quad. Kindergarten playground now on the right. And then we're going to kind of zoom back to where we were. So the decision that I need from you all, input on which of the site versions that you prefer. We have a preference, which you might be able to tell from the imagery you just saw, but we wanted to bring that choice to you. So option 1 on the left is more of a regular shape compared to what you guys have had on your other campuses with us. And then on the right is a similar look, but it separates the fields, has the parking at the top instead of the bottom, etc. So I welcome your input on those.
On option 2, the fields that's to the right of the complex, is that field big enough for
Anything?
any particular sport, or is it just like a grassy field for free play?
I would say grassy field for free play.
Okay.
Yeah, that's primarily what it was. Originally, when we came up with that concept, we thought, well, it might be nice to have an area where the littler kids could play separate from the bigger kids. But we also acknowledge that that maybe is a staffing issue for the district to have yard duty people over on that side of campus and the other side of campus. So I don't know for sure that that's maybe the best thing, but that's kind of what the thought behind it was.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question on the parking lot space.
Okay.
So do we know the difference in the number of parking lots between the two options?
They're about the same. They're really negligibly distant between them. We aim for at least 80, but closer to 100 typically parking stalls on the campuses. So they're both the same.
So they're both the same. Thank you.
I know the triangle one looks bigger, huh? But it's not. Yeah.
And the view that you showed us was option 1.
You're
right?
correct, yes.
I do like option 1 in terms of the fields, in that the fields are all more together. And it looks like in option 1, you could play multiple sports at the same time, especially if you wanted to play baseball and someone was playing soccer, you wouldn't be hitting the ball into the soccer field.
Yeah, that's true.
I struggle with option 2.
Okay. So while we're looking at this and you guys have any other feedback, I just will point out that this line across the top and this little edge, that is where you're up against housing, right? So that's a fence line or a site wall that this campus will have, which is different. This campus is a challenge because normally your campuses have access from at least 3 sides, and this one only has access from 2 sides. So that's why the configuration between that and the Texas-y shape of it is a little challenging for us. So if you guys are happy with option 1, we like option 1 too. We can go down that way.
Just out of curiosity, both of them have the same on the left of the pictures, basically the same line. What is to the left of that? What is proposed to the left of that? Is that housing or is that a street or?
To the left is actually a drainage swale, so it's water. Yeah. So if we go, forgive me for going fast here, but we go back to here, you see the J site originally was a regularly shaped site, but it wasn't big enough. So they basically expanded it this way and then down so that it kind of creates that shape that we ended up with. And so there's kind of these drainage basins on either side of it, on that left side.
But that won't be school property, right? That's
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll have a fence along that edge to keep everybody out.
But if balls go out that way, there's no collecting them.
Correct. Yeah, we'll have to make sure they know that that's an issue.
I think that would be the issue on either option A, option 1, or option 2.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than the fields, I mean, I think option 1 looks good. I think the fields are on option 1 look better because they're all together and you've got more space for sports.
You'll notice the baseball field is all the way tucked down in the corner in option 2. We think that's probably the better place for it, but we could also do that in option 1.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That was the only thing I thought was better about option 2, but option 1, I also like that the classrooms are kind of more in line with access to getting outside onto a playground more easily, where in option 2, it looks like, some of the classrooms have to come a little ways out, so.
Yeah, you kind of have to come around to get to the fields on option 2. It's not as a direct connection.
I like option 1 too, and especially because I've seen an aerial view, it kind of gives me a vision of how the fields are going to be with a field perspective. So I like option 1, but I do have a question, and this is for the district office. So I did see that neighborhood J, the school site has basketball, baseball fields. So now that we are planning for J and K, do we have a plan to think about another cricket field?
It's a good question. We've been a little surprised by the request for use of the cricket field on Costa. So the door would be open for that if there's a need, but at present, we thought there would be people lined up at the door, and it's been tepid. I know the one organization had an interesting read on I think they wanted a fancier, more professional league type cricket field, and our version of it seemed beneath what they were looking for. But we have not had a significant amount of people seeking to use the Costa field. So I think it would be something we would keep in mind. It is this shape is prohibitive of the J campus. We were able to do it at Costa because we had the 2 extra acres, and it's a big giant square. I mean, it's a square And so that's also the shape of this campus has to be able to absorb it. So not opposed to it, but we have not seen huge interest for the use of the Costa Fields.
Thank you.
So from a district perspective, in terms of teachers and staff and students moving about campus, does the district have an opinion as to which one might
You
work
had us
better?
at hello on option 1. So yeah,
Okay.
it was there.
The only difference, the biggest difference I see in them is the sight lines of the quad, I think, are much better for safety and security on 1 than the nooks and crannies in the quad on 2.
I don't disagree with that, David.
Was it the board's consensus that they wanted to move the baseball field on 1 to the corner to mirror what it is on option 2, sliding over the soccer field? That was the one thing I wasn't clear on.
My opinion is if we can do it without overlap, I would prefer not to have overlap if I can get
I
it.
think we can fit it in there. In option 2, it's not shown all the way tight to the corner, so I think there's still some wiggle room there. It might overlap slightly, but not nearly as much as it's showing in option 2.
Okay.
So I think that's your consensus, assuming no
Okay.
overlap, that yes, we would like that.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm going to go into option for the K campus. The K campus, as we said, is not as far along in the design, but I wanted to bring to you some preliminary imagery of what we're thinking. As you can see, it's a different shed roof type of a design. The program, to go through that, this is identical to what we just went through on the J campus. There is no difference in terms of that. To Dr. Nicholas's point, the extra 2 acres that we have at Costa would be critical to fitting a cricket field when you only have single-story buildings. It took both the larger acreage and 2-story buildings to free up enough area for a cricket field on that campus. The buildings, the size of the school are basically, the floor plans are intended to be the same as what we're doing at J. And so what you're gonna see is just a different vernacular in that 3rd dimension for the imagery on the K campus. Again, the K campus is just across the way from the J campus. It's up in this corner here. This is, again, the bridge to nowhere, and then Mountain House Parkway will eventually go through right there. And so you can see it'll be right off that neighborhood there.
Just to go back to the J campus for one moment. Is there no community park adjacent to the J campus? It doesn't look like it on the map. Oh.
There is no park.
But there's all that, there's a lot of open space in that
the
neighborhood.
open space that's behind it that was asked about, balls going in there, I don't know for sure, but I assume that's the developer equivalent of the park.
Okay. Actually, I have another question too about Jay now that we have the big aerial map on. So once you're on Byron Highway, it looks like there's only one main road to get into that area, or am I missing?
So my understanding, and I don't, Dave, sorry.
It looks like there might be a little
My
one,
understanding is there's the bridge, right, which there's obviously no access from the bridge. You'll be able to enter those neighborhoods off of Mountain House Parkway at that light, and then also at Great Valley Parkway at this end. So there'll be 3 ways in and out, 2 of which you can get to from Byron Highway eventually.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
So this is the first site option that we have for the K site. And again, it's a similar cluster of buildings around a quad. You'll notice that the admin building, which is on the lower left here, admin, library, makerspace, and then the kindergarten is more linear, more in line with what the building is at Costa currently, something like that. Then you've got the same multi-use with the science and music rooms on the end of it, and then the 4 repeated classrooms and a quad in the middle. Parking on one side, and then the drop-off lane again exiting to the main street that comes into this campus. The second version is an oval version. It's kind of arranges the classroom buildings around a larger quad space, and the concept here was to get away from the square, basically. Put the shade structure in the middle, of course. The multi-use is the same. The longer kindergarten wing, and then the drop-off lane on the top, and in a parking lot that kind of mimics that archway. Complicated a little bit because getting in and out of the parking lot without blocking access to all the fields was kind of causing a little bottleneck there. But the drop-off lane would be the same at the top. So I will show you these two side by side for you to discuss more in a second, but I'll just go through a couple more images about what the buildings might look like for this campus. So this is a typical classroom building. You'll see it's a combination of some flat roof elements and the shed roof elements. And so similar to the J campus that we went through, currently we're not showing a connection around the building all the way for completely protected walking around, like for covered walks and stuff like that, but that would be part of the design to come. Again, a couple more views of the same building. And then this is what the multi-use might look like. I will go back on here and point out that in this campus, we're proposing to put in some high windows into the classrooms that allow natural light to get into those classrooms, and we would keep those ceilings up high so that it allows that light to come in. We're not showing the solar on this campus yet, but it would obviously have to be on this campus as well. Another couple of views from the multi-use. And then again, here's the two site options for consideration. So the more traditional look on the left with option one, kind of a different idea, sort of nested out of the shape that Hanson is. If you know, Hanson is sort of that oval shape, the way the buildings are and the quad in between it. So something for consideration. Happy to answer any questions on those two options.
One concern I have with I like the idea of the lights of the windows to let in natural light. Mm-hmm. One concern I have is that reminds me of the Cuesta design, which is notoriously inefficient energy-wise, and that worries me a little bit.
That's a reasonable concern, but I can tell you the energy code requirements have severely tightened since Cuesta was built. So I think the efficiency, a high volume like that is always going to be somewhat less efficient than a low volume, but I think we can address that sufficiently to still allow that natural light with the tools that we have available to us today.
Is there a reason why both options have a baseball field where the plate is inside rather than at the far corner? Is there a reason why that's better?
The solar orientation of the field. We don't want the field to look west.
Oh, okay.
Right, so that's kind of our limiting factor. But also, the closer it is to everything else that's paved, the less length we have to pay for a sidewalk to get out to it. You know, the J campus that we went through, it's kind of off by itself, so we will have to have a sidewalk that goes all the way out there. It's just the nature of that particular irregular site that made the most sense. But here we thought we could try to put it closer. There's no reason it couldn't be, but we as designers don't generally want that, batter to be looking into the sun. So we avoid that orientation.
Well, with this one, option 2, it looks like we lost some field space. That there's more green in the center, which is, I would think it would be good for kids, but then again, we do lose some field space.
Yeah, you do sacrifice some of the outer field space to get more space inside for sure.
You know, what is the district? Do they have any position? What would they?
We
prefer?
liked option 1.
Yeah, I liked option 1 just for the more field space too, personally, because I think kids need that place to get out there, and they have their PE requirements and they're running to do. We have cross country, yeah, that's just me.
So we'll be bringing Neighborhood K back to you for the full building design again. But we just need to know which of these options are so that we can start the dirt or geotechnical investigation work on the site. So it sounds like we're leaning towards option 1 again.
Is there any other, yeah.
And I think in terms of the parking lot too, option 1 is better
Yeah.
so you don't have that bottleneck on the road.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to thank Trustee Daniel for asking the question, because I was about to. I think we should keep a close eye on the demand for the cricket pitch. I don't, personally, I care about what the students want. I know there will be plenty of demand for soccer fields and baseball fields, but by the same token, it's the students of our district haven't had, up until the most recent school, they haven't had available a cricket pitch, so they haven't utilized it. So, it's one of those things where we might need to plan to pivot if demand increases. But I don't think we're too far in the process where we couldn't pivot later on.
It would be a struggle to fit it on this campus.
Neither campus will fit a cricket pitch. Well, then there's
So
the answer.
the dilemma is so probably the most likely site of another cricket pitch would be Wickland. If you go to get my bearings here, the northeast part of campus, there's a big giant grass square.
Right.
And you need a big giant grass square. As Wes pointed out, we had 2 stories, gives you more grass, but it's more expensive. And we're getting suffocated under the cost. So this is like one of those things where if money wasn't the issue, we would immediately go 2 stories and it would go. But I do think Wickland is an option for another cricket field if that was needed. And the neighborhood I development is kind of a unknown at this point in time. But those factors are squeezing us a little bit.
If there is no way to articulate the site such that you even can, then it's a moot point. Because I wouldn't say, well, let's spend extra money to do a 2-story, school so that we can fit it on. Because money doesn't grow on trees, and that's been the perennial struggle for this district for the entire decade that I've been on the board.
I also do believe that the new Central Park, the downtown Central Park, is going to have cricket fields. So, we are the only show in town that provides any facilities for people to use at large, right? So the pressure on this district is enormous. So when we're thinking about these decisions, if there's a fully built out Central Park, it has a swimming facility with a little kid pool and a competitive pool and a gym and a gathering area and cricket fields and tennis courts. Think about the relief on the school district for fulfilling the needs. So right now where we're at is the cost to build and the generation of funds is a challenge. So, but I would probably be, if there was a desire by the board to find a way, I would probably be the best site to consider that.
Okay. But I think what I'm hearing though is that, if there's demand for a cricket field, we don't have to think so fixed mindset on it has to be at a new school. We have
No, that's
lots of
right.
land and
Yep.
schools in other places, so
And similarly, we do have 19 acres.
yes.
And we're about to put 6 acres of grass on there, and that could also be another cricket field. If you bifurcate 2 soccer fields with a sideline and have a pitch on the sideline, then suddenly you've created 2 soccer fields and a cricket field. So we have talked about that extensively. The issue really comes down to is the Costa thing was a curveball because we thought that there would be a lot of demand, and at present, unless I'm missing something, there hasn't been a lot of demand. Granted, we had an issue with the grass, so maybe it'll show back up in the spring.
Okay.
Yeah, all of that notwithstanding, I do want to thank Trustee Daniel for raising the question because it shows that we are being mindful of that and looking at our options. And on those 2 sites, it's really not an option.
So I think the consensus of the board then is that the board likes option 1 for both J and K.
Yeah.
So
Okay, thank you for that.
Probably why they were option 1. They were your
I wouldn't guarantee that.
your first choice.
So the other factor I'd like the board, and Wes, this is outside of the design part. So if the board is done with Wes and Will, they have a 3.5-hour drive to embark on. So does anyone have any questions for our weary travelers?
Thank you for being here.
No, thank you
Appreciate it.
for
so
bumping
much.
us up. That's great.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
have safe travels home, please.
Yes, drive safe.
Drive safe.
So just to get a sense, and it kind of goes with the theme I was just speaking to, is when in 2014-15, we opened Altamont Elementary with a very similar design, single-story campus with a space for a preschool that we put in with Measure L dollars later. And we built that school campus for $34 million. And when you add the soft costs, probably $37 million all in. Soft costs are architectural costs, engineering costs, the fees for the state and approvals and all that stuff. The budget for this all in with contingencies and construction cost and soft costs is $60 million. So that's in 10 years. So there is a proposition, Prop 2, on the ballot next month that I don't know what the polling numbers are, but if it doesn't pass, that's one of the funding sources for construction of K-8 school sites. It's state construction fund bond. So I will be able to bring back a report to the board about if it passes. We currently have Costa on the funding list, the Lammersville modernization, which has been there for 3 years on the funding list. I believe the modernization is at the $2.7 billion mark, and I believe Costa is at the $3.1 billion mark. The 15 classroom building is on the list. I don't know where it lands because I haven't seen an update on the list, but it's way past 3.1 billion. And then J, which it's crazy to think this is going to get approved sometime in May of next year, and we were going to want to hire a contractor sooner rather than later so they can start bidding and driving down prices with subcontractors and economies of scale. And we'll start building in like May, June to have it ready to open in 2026. So that's a full-scale, full-court press that we're going on J. K is giving Wes and Will a concept, but they're not going to go deep into the design because that one's really not targeted until 2029. But I just wanted to lay that out. The second issue is I'd like the board's direction. I'm requesting to be able to be told to bring back an info and discussion item, and that has to do with the no-name school. Now, there have been no-name defenses in football, and I think that was the Miami Dolphins that went undefeated back in '72, if I remember correctly. But currently, just because it's a comedy, J, we have 4 villages north of Byron Highway. J is the school we're building next, and it currently has no name. K has a name, Old River, but it's not slated to be built until 2029. L has no school but a name, Morris Landing, and I has no name and a planned school. So we have 2 names, Old River and Morris Landing. It is the board's discretion to follow the process to direct staff to identify names for schools. Jay needs a name. And so I would like to start the process of kind of pooling that together. There's typically a committee of staff members. I know there's a book of history on the region. There's a lot of Scots-Irish names in there. I guess this was like a tent, in my imagination, I could be wrong, kind of a tent city drop-off point on the way up to the gold rush. That's at least what the history book is. So the direction of the district has always been historical names, long-term history names, not necessarily the 1800s, but like, people who have prominent historical names. And so we need to kind of clarify this at some point to have a name. It'll help Mr. Harrison's article if it's not named No Name School. And but I say that tongue in cheek, but I would like the board's direction to start the process of organizing that committee, and maybe sometime in January we could bring back some recommendations to the board.
I think we have consensus. I'm seeing nodding heads. So, yes.
But I do have a comment. One thing I can tell you is that I wouldn't support Tent City Elementary School.
Understood.
All right, I think that closes the information and discussion item. And again, thank you for being here to present those designs.
Thank you very much.
Move on to item 5, committee reports. Item A, District Advisory Committee. Trustee Boulay.
Thank you. The next District Advisory Committee meeting is Wednesday, November 6th at 6:15 here at the district office.
Item B, District English Language Advisory Committee. Trustee Clements.
Madam President, the next DLAC meeting will be on Thursday, October 24th at 6:30 here in the district office boardroom.
Item C, Education Committee. Trustee Pombo.
The next Education Committee meeting is tomorrow night, October 17th at 6:30 in the PDC.
Thank you. Item D is Facilities Committee. And the next Facilities Committee meeting will be Thursday, November 7th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. in the district office boardroom. Item E, Policy Committee. Trustee Daniel.
We have a few updates on the board policies and administrative regulations, and we will have the first read on November 6th.
Thank you. And item F, Safety Committee. Trustee Pombo.
Yes, I'm going to have to ask 20th. The next Safety Committee meeting is November 20th at the PDC.
Thank you. And item G, Wellness Committee. The Wellness Committee met on October 2nd here in the district office boardroom, where schools provided updates on their wellness activities and the social emotional supports and health screenings that are being done for students currently. Item 6, Governing Board Reports. Student Trustee Vitellani.
Thank you. Good evening. I hope that everyone's been having a great week back from break. To start off with ASB updates, on October 2nd, leadership had their Involve training, where we had Mr. Scott come in from Involve and teach us a lot of new things about new programs we can implement. And leadership has already started applying this, where we're doing like a 30-day challenge, and we target different groups at our school and really create activities that engages everybody. And this Tuesday, Castle held their Leadership Development Day at the high school. All the ASB students from all the middle schools and high schools were at the small gym at the high school, and it was a great opportunity to not only connect, but also learn and share lots of new ideas. For club updates, the National Honor Society induction ceremony will be held on October 24th. Congratulations to all of the new accepted members. And Hispanic Heritage Club is holding an exciting free movie night on October 22nd to watch the crowd favorite movie, Coco. For sporting updates, yesterday's senior night for the tennis team was held to honor their incredible work and dedication throughout the years. And this Thursday is the volleyball senior night. For additional high school updates, with a lot of college applications due very soon on November 1st, the counselors have been working extremely hard to help all of the seniors apply, and I wish the very best of luck to all the Mustang seniors applying. That concludes my report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Clements.
Thank you, Madam President. A couple of weeks ago, I was able to attend a portion of the homecoming football games. The JV team won. The varsity football team was not victorious, but they played hard, and it was great to be at the games with several of my peers on the board and members of the community. This past Monday, I attended the San Joaquin County Office of Education's annual dinner with most of my peers on the board, as well as Dr. Nicholas. At this time, I wanted to take a moment and thank all the candidates that have stepped up to run for school board this year. I know from experience how that putting your name out there is a daunting task. I would also like to address what some might call the elephant in the room, which is my upcoming resignation from the school board. For the last 10 years, it has been my honor to serve the people and, more importantly, the students of this district as a school board trustee. I strongly believe that if you ask the people of the community to elect you for a 4-year term for a position such as school board or city council, then you should serve out the entire 4-year term. I also believe, however, that there are times when things that happen in your life that make it extremely difficult to do an effective job of governance, and that you simply could not anticipate when you ran for election or re-election. This is the situation that I find myself in right now. I was given an opportunity in Roseville, California that was simply too good to pass up. In the short term, I will be commuting back and forth from Roseville, and I did consider staying on the board. I think that I have skills that have benefited our district over the last 10 years. But I strongly believe that the most important ability is availability. Unfortunately, I don't believe that I can put the energy and time into my new position that it will require and still be able to put the energy and time into my board position that our students, teachers, staff, and administration deserve. I wanted to give the district the time that it takes to follow the process to identify and appoint a quality replacement, which is why the district is aware of my intentions prior to the date that my formal resignation will be submitted to the county, which we will be doing next week. Looking back on the past 10 years, I can't help but be amazed at all of the things that this district has accomplished since I was sworn in. During that time, the board has acted as a team with our teachers, staff, and administrators to congratulate the first graduating class at Mountain House High School, and 9 more graduating classes since then. Pass a $50 million bond to enable the district to provide our students with the facilities that they need and deserve. Finish the second phase and start the further expansion of what I believe is a world-class high school. Foster such high performance that Mountain House High School has been recognized as a California Distinguished School, a CSBA Golden Bell winner for Epic Academy, a CSBA Golden Bell and NSBA Magma Award for Early College Pathway, and a U.S. News and World Report as a California Top High School, just to name a few. We also finished the construction of Altamont Elementary School, designed, built, and financed Hanson, Cordes, and Costa Elementary Schools, designed and built an incredible professional development center to provide a place that helps to ensure that our teachers and staff have access to the best training possible. Design and begin construction on yet another phase of the high school. Design the next elementary school, which we just talked about, which is in Neighborhood J. Attain and retain our status as the highest performing school district in San Joaquin County. Surpass Livermore Public Schools and set our sights on Pleasanton and Dublin schools. Foster leadership in our students to the extent that our students not only compete, but excel at a national level in events like debate and forensics, HOSA, DECA, and a host of other organizations. We worried for the health and safety of our students and their families as a local outbreak in China became an epidemic and then a pandemic. And then we watched as our teachers, staff, administrators, students, and parents cooperated to get online learning up and running in less than 72 hours, while many districts in our region took months to get up and running. We watched our student enrollment grow from 3,500 to almost 8,000 students. We celebrated the vibrancy that this community provides through expansive diversity, with students in our district that speak 32 different native languages. I wish I could say that everything has been perfect for the last decade, but that wouldn't be true. We've also had our struggles as well. The math department at our high school struggled for a period of time. And to be completely honest, we had some challenges in our special education department during our tenure on the board. And that was in spite of the fact that this district and this board has a clear understanding that students in special education are some of the students that need and deserve for us to be at our absolute best. Ironically, those situations are some of the things that I am most proud of, not because they happened, but because over the last decade that I have been on the board, the district has never tried to hide anything. We've always had a clear picture that the students of this district deserve leadership that acknowledges an issue and then develops a plan to address it as quickly and as effectively as possible, rather than wringing our hands about it or looking for someone or something to blame. I am proud to have been a small part of a leadership team that celebrated the district's successes, but also acknowledged where we fell short and then developed a plan to address and correct it. In life, I believe that a person's responsibility to leave things better than when we found them. That was a daunting task because when I was sworn in, I honestly believed that our district was fantastic 10 years ago. However, when I look at where we are now, I am confident that the district is even better today. And with the leadership that is in place with Dr. Nicholas and his team, as well as my peers on the board, I know that this district will be even better in the future. I believe that the best thing that I can do for this district in this moment is to step aside and let my peers on the board select a replacement that can devote the time, effort, and attention that the students of our district need and deserve. For this reason, and way more than a little bit of sadness, I will be tendering my resignation as a board trustee for Lammersville Unified School District. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Clements. Trustee Pombo.
I would just like to start out by thanking Trustee Clements for his 10 years of dedicated service. He was he was an exemplary trustee, and he gave of himself to this district, and he is correct when he says that the district is better now than it was when he got here, and for that, I thank him. Thank you, sir. And now I have to give my board report and follow that up. On September 19th, I attended the Facilities Committee meeting. On the 23rd, I attended the Safety Assembly at Lammersville Elementary. On the 25th, I attended the CASP recognition at Costa Elementary. On the 26th, I attended the Safety Assembly at Costa Elementary. And then later in the day, I attended a CSBA Region 8 Zoom meeting with my fellow CSBA delegates. On the 27th, I attended the homecoming parade, homecoming football games, and the Mountain House water treatment expansion dedication. On September 30th, I attended the scholarship ceremony where Senior Daniela Anaya Anzona was awarded a $40,000 scholarship by the College Board. I participated in the Mountain House Matters Candidate Forum that evening. On October 1st, I attended I had a site visit at Lammersville Elementary. On October 2nd, I attended the Cordes PTA meeting. On October 3rd, I attended the Safety Assembly at Cordes Elementary and had a site visit at Mountain House High School. On October 10th, I attended the CVGCA Garba celebration at Mountain House High School. On October 9th, I attended the Mountain House Central Park Phase 2 groundbreaking. On the 12th, I attended the Mountain House Hispanic Heritage Festival. On the 14th, I was part of a visit at Mountain House High School that with representatives from the San Joaquin County Office of Education recognizing the Blue Ribbon School Award that Mountain House High School won, which I'm very proud of. In the evening, I attended the San Joaquin County School Boards Association dinner. On the 15th, I had a site visit at Cordes Elementary, and earlier today I went to the Lammersville School Foundation meeting, and I cut all those things short. I didn't mention much about the events, only that I attended, but I was very happy to attend all, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Boulay.
Thank you. On September 20th, I attended the Wickland Splashathon. It's their biggest fundraiser of the year, and it was a warm afternoon with lots of water slides and other water events, so it was a great fundraiser for them. On September 24th, I attended the 5th and 6th grade volleyball game, Wickland versus Altamont, and the teams were so evenly paired. They went into a third game tiebreaker, and even the tiebreaker was a close game. So those kids played great. They've got some great skill. On the 26th, I attended the girls' high school flag football game. Our girls are really struggling this year getting some points on the scoreboard, but gosh, they are still out there having fun. They're working hard, and they're giving it everything they got. So I think that's the epitome of good sportsmanship. So kudos to our girls. On September 27th, I attended the homecoming parade, the JV football game, the varsity football game at the high school, and the water treatment plant expansion ribbon cutting. On the 30th, I also attended the Mountain House Matters Candidate Forum, so thank you to Mr. Harrison for putting that together, and to Zaytech Academy for hosting that. On October 3rd, I had a site visit at the high school. I had an awesome time with Dr. Auerbach, seeing some of the classrooms. When you're in the C building and you're down by the culinary arts classroom, it's very easy to get distracted because they were making cupcakes, and it just kind of pulls you in there. So that was a great visit, not because of the smell of cupcakes, but to hear about things that Dr. Auerbach has going on and programs he has. So it's just a kudos to the high school and the high school staff for the great job they're doing. On the 9th, I attended the Central Park expansion ribbon cutting, and then later that evening, I attended the Mountain House City Council meeting to deliver the Lammersville School Report. And then on the 14th, along with some of the other board members and Dr. Nicholas, I had attended the San Joaquin County Office of Education School Board dinner. And that is the end of my report. Thank you.
Trustee Daniel.
On September 27th, I attended the Mountain House Water Treatment Expansion dedication along with other trustees. There was a tour that was provided to us, and it was suggested that it could be a good place where students could come and have a tour too, but provided there were safety regulations. On September 30th, I also attended the College Board Scholarship Award, which was given to Daniela Anaya Anzola. Congratulations to her and her family. I want to applaud Trustee Clemens on the 10-year plus service. I have learned a lot from you, and I respectfully feel your emotions. Thank you so much, and all the very best for your future endeavors.
Thank you.
There ends my report.
Thank you. On September 19th, I attended the Facilities Committee meeting. On September 27th, I attended the homecoming football games. And on September 30th, I was also at the scholarship ceremony for the Mountain House High School student. On October 2nd, I attended the Wellness Committee meeting. And then that weekend, I attended the CBGCA Garba event at the high school. And the following weekend, I attended the Hispanic Heritage event at Central Park. On October 14th, I attended the county school board's dinner with several of the trustees and Dr. Nicholas. And in between all of that, I attended several water polo games, including one today at Patterson. And to conclude my report, Trustee Clements, it has been a true pleasure to serve on the board with you. I appreciate the 10-year service that you have given. There's never been a doubt in my mind how much you care about this community and how much you care about our students. I saw that even back, when I was a parent at Cuesta, the school foundation president, and there was Trustee Clements helping me clean up and set up. And so just little things like that show how much you care and value and want to see the community engaged and involved in the education of their children. And you will be missed, and thank you for the difference you have made.
Can we give Trustee Clements a round of applause?
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Moving on to item 7, receiving of public comments. The entire board appreciates hearing from members of the community and public at large. The board shall give members of the public an opportunity to address the board either before or during the board's consideration of each agenda item, Government Code Section 54954.3. At a time so designated on the agenda, members of the public may also bring before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda of a regular meeting. The board may refer such a matter to the superintendent or designee or take it under advisement, but shall not take action at that time. The board may place the matter on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for discussion or action. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. And I have 2 comment cards, and so when I call your name, you can please come step up to the dais, and we'll call Mr. Pete Moya. Is that, am I reading that correctly?
My name is Pete Moyer. I live 2 houses in from the intersection of Von Sausen at the Lammersville School. That stop intersection has been a dangerous intersection for years. I'm part of the group that got Hanson Road overpass shut down. We have a very effective political machine. Yesterday, I watched that little girl, half of when she went underneath the Jeep and got hit, whether you're aware of that or not. I reached out to David Pombo, as always. He's been very instrumental in our community with the school. We need a stop sign, a crossing guard, a flashing red light, a human something to stop. I have sat there and physically counted cars for our association. At one point in time, that intersection was handling over 12,000 cars in an 8-hour period. Hanson Road, where I live, was handling almost 5,000 cars and 175 trucks. That intersection is a shortcut for all the commuters going to the industrial park behind us, and it's a shortcut to the freeway. And as the outlying areas build, we're going to get more and more people coming through as they add more houses and so on. I'm reaching out to the school board. Mr. Pombo contacted Rickman's office, Supervisor Rickman's office today. I contacted Scott. I also contacted Rickman, who I haven't heard back from. We need some kind of action. I don't care about budgets. I don't care about constraints. I've heard all these excuses my whole life. I was in business also. The safety and the life of a child is just immeasurable. As I count cars on that intersection, I'm Mabes, a 5th grade school teacher at Lammersville. I was talking to her husband when that girl ran into that Jeep. 2 minutes before that, I watched a car blow through that intersection at about 30 miles an hour. We were talking about it. A couple minutes before that, we watched a truck blow through that intersection at 20 miles an hour. Your voice of this school board and the voice of our community is instrumental if we keep communicating with Mr. Rickman and stay on him and stay on Scott and stay on Najee, it's going to fall on Najee, and Najee's boss is Fritz. He's the director of all the public works in the county. This school board needs to step up and help us with this fight. We will get something done, but we need something at that intersection. That school houses about 190 students and I think a staff of 20-something. So there's about 200 people. And the school has done a tremendous job, going back to Irene's days, where they have parent drop-off, vehicle controls, and so on and so forth to mitigate problems. They've done an outstanding job, but that intersection at this point in time needs a crossing guard. It needs a light. I need your support. I need you people contacting the county. The county will react faster to you than they will. It took us a year and a half to close our road. They'll react faster to you than they will to me. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. I believe it says Janice Dart. Is it Janice or?
No, Vanny.
Oh, Vanny. I'm sorry.
Close.
Yeah.
You got the last name right.
Yeah.
Evening, trustees, Madam President, and Superintendent. I live 4 doors away from Mr. Pete Moyer, and so we could see what's happening to the roads and to our neighborhood. Prologis came in and built humongous International Parkway with all the warehouses, which you all see. So our roads become the shortcut. Valley Link is coming in a couple of years, and they projected that on the opening day there will be at least 4,000 cars coming through our road where our children are walking to school. And we all know commuters do not care about anyone but commuters and their destinations. Children, they don't care. They run over kids any day if they have to, if they want to. So as parents, we would like to see our kids going to school safe and return home safe. As educators, I think you would want the same thing too. You don't want a child to be hurt. And if we could save a life, that child grow up will be a doctor, a nurse, a veterinarian, a plumber, an electrician. We want to see that. We want our children to grow up to be somebody. So I have a list of volunteers who are willing to be crossing guards to protect our kids. I understand the legality of it. Waivers have to be signed. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to step up and help the school, help the board to help us to save our kids, whatever it takes. Just let us know, sit down with us, let us know what we need to do so we can save these lives. The little girl yesterday, God was looking out for her. If it was an 18-wheeler, we would be different. We would be talking differently. And 18-wheelers are coming up and down our street every day still. They still do shortcut. Valley Link is coming, so please help us to save our children. I'm asking you to do something. Trustee Clemens, your speech made me cry. And now talking about it, I'm gonna cry because I share your passion for our children. We all share the same passion. We are in this for the kids, for the children. So help us, please, so we can save children's lives, so they can grow up and be somebody. Perhaps they can be the President of the United States one day. Please. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. And I just wanted to point out that because of the Brown Act, the board cannot respond to non-agendized items, but I can assure you that the board cares immensely about the safety, and we have your contact information, and so I'll have staff reach out to you so that you can give us the names and suggestions you have so that we can take that under advisement.
The school board was instrumental in shutting down Hanson Road, whether you know that or not. were very instrumental in that.
You came to our meeting.
You
Thank
came
you.
to our meetings and you had presence at the Board of Supervisors and staff and
We-
so
Thank,
on.
thank you. We appreciate
Do all I
that.
could do was call Rickman and make it happen.
Thank you.
Item 8, consent items for consideration. Thank you. Actions proposed for consent are consistent with the approved practices of the district and are deemed routine in nature. Trustees receive board agenda background information in advance of scheduled meetings and are prepared to vote with knowledge on the consent items. Item A, governing board meeting minutes, regular meeting September 18th, 2024, 7 p.m. Item B, contracts under $50,000. Item C, ratification of 2024-2025 intra-district transfer requests. Item D, ratification of certificated and classified personnel actions. Item E, ratification of warrant list for September 2024. Item F, ratification of appointment of Facilities Committee member Ratan Kanthala. Item G, approval of early high school graduation or reduction of graduation requirements petition for 2 students. Item H, updated 2024-2025 fundraisers. Item I, ratification of school-sponsored overnight trips. And item J, acceptance of donation volleyball uniforms worth $1,324.80 from the Cottrell family for the 7th, 8th grade volleyball team at Bethany Elementary School, and 12 banners for varsity girls and boys water polo teams worth $584.55 from Dee and Mike Goldstein for the seniors at Mountain House High School. Would any member of this board like to poll or further discuss any of the items on consent?
Move to approve the consent items as presented.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Madam Clerk, will you please do the honors?
Thank you. I'd like to welcome the following people to the Lammersville Unified School District. Masato Ahmad, Special Educational Instructional Aide. Nancy Avila, Special Education Instructional Aide. Andrew Brown, School Psychologist. Taylor Burns, Self-Contained Classroom Teacher. Senta Lewick, School Psychologist. Kelly Reinbold, Special Educational Instructional Aide. And Malali Zarin, Kindergarten Teacher. Welcome to the Lammersville family.
Item 9, District Administrative Reports. Item A, Superintendent's Report.
The only thing I have is I thought we announced it at the last board meeting, but we couldn't remember, so I'm just going to say it again that the district has formally been named a Golden Bell Award winner and for the Epic Academy at the high school, and Mountain House High School was also named a National Blue Ribbon School from the National Department of Education, and so I think we already celebrated that. But if I missed it, if not, we're bragging it for a second time, and that is my report.
Thank you. Item B, District Enrollment Report.
Yeah, 7,967, and this is kind of that time of year where we drop at the beginning of the year and then it rises up rapidly, and we're in that rapid phase, which will probably stop at the end of next month. But that 7,967 is getting pretty close to 8,000.
Thank you. Item C, District Maintenance and Operations Report. Director Dixon.
Good evening. Okay, so deep cleaning was done over fall break. The weather has been moderate the past few weeks, so the watering has been decreased to 5 days a week at all sites, except for Costa. We're still 7 there for the field maintenance. With cooler temperatures, the HVAC calls have gone way down as well. The pool is doing well. Our vacuum wasn't working. The company loaned us one for 2 weeks until they got ours up and running, so there's no issues there. Currently, we have no openings in custodial and are interviewing Friday for the civics permit positions. All positions are filled in maintenance and grounds as well. We recently had 2 very large groups with civic permits back-to-back weekends. We had approximately 3,000 people at each event. Just to emphasize something Dr. Nicholas mentioned earlier, events this large highlights the growing community and the amount our facilities are being used every month. Other than that, there are no issues with civic permits, and that's it.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you very much. Moving on to item 10, action items. Item A, consider approval to hire employee on the basis of a provisional internship permit. Staff report?
Yes, we are excited that we found a health teacher that we want to hire under a PIP.
Move to hire employee on the basis of a provisional internship permit.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Clements and seconded by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no nos. Item B, consider approval of a contract with Accor Healthcare Services LLC for an American Sign Language interpreter for the 2024-2025 school year. Total cost $85,405. Staff report?
Yes, this is a service we typically contract out. Recommends approval.
Move to approve a contract with Accor Healthcare Services LLC for an American Sign Language interpreter for the 2024-2025 school year. Total cost $85,405.
Second.
On a motion.
I do have a question for staff. This expenditure and some of the consent item expenditures, as well as some of the other expenditures in this agenda, are related to special ed, correct?
That is correct.
And those monies are primarily coming from the general fund, is that correct?
That is correct.
I am in no way saying that we should not spend this money on these kids. I think they deserve whatever they need to help them. My point is that the state mandates that we spend these monies, but they do not fund the expenditures that we must shoulder for the benefits that these students need.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion by trustee Boulay, seconded by trustee Daniel. Student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no nos. Item C, consider approval of the educational specifications for Neighborhood J and Neighborhood K elementary schools. Staff report.
Yeah, this is part of the bureaucratic process of getting a school design approved. You need to have ed specs, which have a lot to do with the design and the circumstances for how the schools are going to be built, but within it is an educational explanation so that the approving entities at the Department of School Architecture will be able to say that, yes, the educational plan matches the architectural plan. And so we recommend approval.
Move to approve the educational specifications for Neighborhood J and Neighborhood K elementary schools.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no nos. Item D, consider approval of governing board resolution number 24-25-9 regarding vacancy. Staff report?
Yes, with trustee Clements announcing his resignation from the board, it starts the process of finding a replacement. And so this resolution formally announces from the board their intent, the board's intent, to have a provisional appointment. Mr. Clements's position on the board is an at-large board seat, which technically comes to an end, the at-large seat, in December 11th, 2026. This resolution follows the similar process to the one we used in 2021 that replaced two former trustees, Bonilla and Lampel. And so that model worked well for us. I will explain a little bit the details of what's going to happen, but there is going to be a communication that goes out to the entire community through multiple sources within a window of time. So again, this is a provisional appointment for an at-large seat, meaning the whole district representation. And it's going to be modeled after our previous version of this that we applied in 2021. And then I'll just read this portion. The only requirement to serve on the governing board is that a candidate be a resident in the Lammersville School District boundaries. They must be a registered voter of the district at the time of the application submittal, and they must be 18 years or older. This position, again, will serve into December of 2026. Now, this is an important point because we've made a transition in the district to area voting. The November 2026 election will include voting areas 4 and 5. The at-large position filled by this appointed applicant will cease to exist once the election of November 2026 has concluded, because in that election, Area 4 and Area 5 will have a representative. Now, moving on to the process. Applications are going to be due over a 2-week period. So the applications will be due Friday, November 1st, 2024. We are going to have a selection of applicants, 3 finalists, who will be interviewed Wednesday at a special board meeting, November 13th, 2024. The applications can be obtained at the district office once they're put out, and that'll be over the next couple of days, and it'll also be on our website. We will communicate this to the community through our, will be posted on the website, go out through social media, and they'll be placed in school newsletters and the high school announcement board by Friday, if not earlier. So there'll be a full 2-week window for people to be informed and fill it out. So they'll get a communication like this. Of course, it'll be electronic. And the application form has 7 short prompts from which a subcommittee of the board will screen, and then the board will take the finalist applicants, and a decision will be made. And so I wanted to say that publicly. This is not the only time it's going to be explained. It's explained in the resolution, but I wanted to just, for the record, have it out there that I explained the whole process. So are there any questions about that? So we need approval for the resolution regarding this provisional appointment.
Somewhat ironically, move to approve Governing Board Resolution 24-25-09 regarding vacancy.
Reluctantly second.
On a motion by trustee Clements and seconded by trustee Pombo, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
Roll call.
Lisa Boulay.
Aye.
Colin Clements.
Aye.
Vanita Daniel.
Aye.
Stephanie Olson.
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Moving on to item E. Consider approval of updated contract with Summa Academy LLC for specialized academic instruction and other services for the 2024-2025 school year. Total cost $87,803.50. Staff report.
Yes, this is going to allow us to bring services to a special education needs occupational therapist position.
Move to approve updated contract with Summa Academy LLC for specialized academic instruction and other services for the 2024-2025 school year. Total cost $87,803.50.
Second. Clements got it.
On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Item F, consider approval to hire certificated employees on a variable term waiver. Staff report.
Yes, these are all career technical education teachers. This is related to an English learner authorization. We do this every year to ensure we have teachers in the career technical education part of our program.
Move to approve to hire certified employees on a variable term waiver. Zainab Bhatt, Satnam Kunsi, Padmavati Jawahar, Arundhati Murugesan, Betsabi Pais, Sampurna Sarkar.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Daniel and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Item G, consider approval of new certificated Lammersville Teachers Association job description effective November 1st, 2024, TK through 8 classroom teacher. Staff report.
Yes, we have updated the teacher's job description, and one of the things that Trustee Clements left out in his beautiful speech tonight was that we probably shouldn't have a job description that was typed on a manual typewriter. And I believe that was typed in 1972, and you know, the position is the same in some ways and is completely different in others. So inspired, Sarah Barrios, our director of HR, thought, you know, let me bring this forward and let's modernize it. So we strongly recommend approval of this.
Are you saying that things have changed in the last 52 years?
You just saying.
So in the spirit of continuous improvement, move to approve new certificated Lammersville Teachers Association job description effective November 1st, 2024, TK through 8 classroom teacher.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Clements and seconded by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Item H, consider approval of new unrepresented certificated job description and salary effective November 1st, 2024, lead school psychologist. Staff report.
Yeah, it's just part of the evolution of a growing district that new positions need to be adjusted, and this is a particular position that will, play the role of it, kind of an equivalent of a coordinator, but based on credentialing needs, we needed to have it have a different title. We recommend approval.
Move to approve new unrepresented certificated job description and salary effective November 1st, 2024, lead school psychologist.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Item I, consider approval of the 2024-2025 Local Control Accountability Plan, LCAP, federal addendum. Staff report.
Yes, in the spirit of local control, there's a federal addendum because it's not enough to have Sacramento take it all the way away from us.
That's
but
just
now,
about as
now
unlocal
Washington,
as you
DC
can
is
get.
coming in too. So this is a mandate that we have a federal addendum and that it doesn't really change, but we have to approve it annually. So we are fulfilling our local control duty for Sacramento and in this case, Washington, DC.
Move to approve the 2024-2025 Local Control Accountability Plan, LCAP federal addendum.
I will second the motion to approve the 2024-2025 Local Controlless Accountability Plan, LCAP federal addendum.
On a motion by trustee Boulay, seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Moving on to item 12, calendar. On Thursday, October 17th, 2024, the Education Committee will meet at 6:30 p.m. in the Professional Development Center. Item B, that Thursday, October 24th, 2024, the District English Learner Advisory Committee will meet at 6:30 p.m. in the District Office Boardroom. Item C, on Wednesday, November 6th, 2024, the District Advisory Committee meeting will be at 6:15 p.m. in the District Office Boardroom. And item D, Wednesday, November 6th, 2024, the next regular governing board meeting at 7 p.m. in the District Office Boardroom. And item E, Thursday, November 7th, 2024, the Facilities Committee meeting will be held at 6:30 p.m. in the District Office Boardroom. In a moment, we will be adjourning to closed session where we will be discussing the following items. Item A, Public Employee Discipline Dismissal Release Complaint, Government Code Section 54957. Item B, Conference with Real Property Negotiators, Government Code Section 54956.8. And item C, Public Employee Appointment, Employment Evaluation Superintendent, Government Code Section 54357.6.
Move to adjourn to closed session.
Second.
I think trustee Pombo got that. On a motion by trustee Clements and seconded by trustee Pombo. Student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion to adjourn passes with 5 ayes and no noes, and at 8:42 p.m. we are adjourned to closed session.